Akademiks. Can't ride no way.
We want to just get directly into this case here. The Department of Justice, again, this is another thing about rappers who have been to the system or been through the system, yet they refuse to learn. They come out taunting the system. The idea of fuck the feds, fuck the judge, fuck the prosecutor. It sounds good. Trust me, there's a exhilarating feeling when you're even repeating it, even if you've never been in trouble. However, it looks like they don't forget. This is clearly an attempt probably for a slam dunk for the Department of Justice. They've done a press conference about it. We're about to watch it now. If you guys are just tuning in, rapper Gucci Mane was robbed at gunpoint. And it appears that the Department of Justice has now taken to a press conference. And that's what I'm saying. Once they're doing a press conference, they usually put out press releases to the public. But they're doing press conferences because this is the slam dunk. You get it in their minds. Real quick, everybody get up in here. We are covering this story live. It really just broke. I was kicking it on Kick for a bit, and we realized this came down the pipeline. Okay, let's go.
I'm Ryan Rabel. I'm the U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Texas. Thank you for coming. This week, 9 individuals, including well-known musical artists, kidnapped and robbed at gunpoint numerous victims at a music studio in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, wow.
8 of the 9 were arrested yesterday in Dallas, Memphis, and Nashville. These individuals who are charged and arrested include Lontrell Williams Jr., also known as Pooh Shiesty, Lontrell Williams Sr.,
Well, I guess that, I was with Pooh Shiesty on they should make him the face of the Nike Shiesty. I guess that's out the window, right?
Rodney Wright Jr., also known as Big 30, Kadarius Waters, Demarion Gibson, DeMarcus Glover, Corday Johnson, Darian McDaniel, and Terrence Rogers has not been arrested yet, but will be soon. The complaint alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas.
Now, I hate that I'm pausing it a little bit, but January 10th, again, if we're thinking about the timing of all this, when did First Day Out drop? We should think about that because we're going to have to figure out the narrative later on. First Day Out, oh my God, if that was dropped in December. So what probably happens, chat, is that they haven't been, this happens a lot. This is why Bobby Shmurda had to get off Epic. A rapper gets locked up, the label, it's out of sight, out of mind. They're not going to still send money to your mama, to your daddy, to everybody who's with you. And if your account in terms of music, if that dries up and they don't have a lot of money there, they're not going to reinvest into an artist that's incarcerated. So you know what usually happens, chat? That artist feels away. It's like how Blueface said, I know I'm comparing to Blueface, but remember, how Blueface said he can't forgive one of his baby mamas because she wasn't there for him? So Pooh Shiesty probably gets out, goes to the halfway house, and he has some resentment for 1017. They probably weren't there. Even though supposedly in his first interview, he actually kind of did he say Gucci was there? But regardless, when he gets out, he drops a hit. He's probably thinking these niggas didn't hold me down when I was locked down. They ain't funding nothing. They're not giving me nothing. Why they gonna eat at the table with me? And they probably approached him to say, yo, you know what? Gotti been doing some stuff for us. We want to leave. There's a beef between Gotti, long-standing beef between Gotti and Gucci. Gucci's like, nah. Gucci's like, yo, we could probably give you better terms, but we're not letting you out of this contract, right? One of the things about music contracts that's different than most contracts is like, for example, a basketball contract. When you sign for 5 years, if you get locked up for 6 years on your second year in the contract, when you get out of jail, that contract is over. That contract is void. The contract is based on time, not actually deliverables that are staggered. The thing with music contracts, it's usually staggered based on deliverables in terms of albums. So yeah, you get locked up, essentially the contract gets paused. So you don't come out and be like, nah, man, this contract was supposed to be done in 5 years. I'm free. So that's kind of a running theory I got right now. But just to let you know the dates, December 12th, he drops First Day Out, the music video, and a month later he meets up with Gucci Mane on January 10th, they said, and that's when the robbery occurs. So his song's already buzzing. Let me go back. I'm trying to not interrupt.
Has not been arrested yet, but will be soon. The complaint alleges that on January 10th of this year, 3 music industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims.
Now, this is going to be a big source of conversation. Gucci Mane is listed as a victim. Now, a lot of times what happened in this rap community, like you hear stuff. Oh, this guy got stripped down after a dice game. This guy got robbed at the dice game. This guy, he up fire on this guy. And yo, he shot at those dudes. And nothing much comes out of it. And sometimes, obviously, the first thing is you don't want to cooperate, right? Because being a snitch is almost like a scarlet letter. The second thing is people don't want to wear that victim tag, that victim label. Right? They don't want to. Shit. Remember when I was covering the Big U thing and I said, well, whack, they say you're like one of the victims. They got an incident where Big U supposedly did something to you and he started barking at me. Guys from the streets, guys are like in music that are portraying this tough image. They don't ever want to be the victim on paper. Okay? So that's a huge deterrent from them ever talking to the cops. Now, did Gucci talk to the cops? That's going to be a big conversation we're going to have. Now, Gucci's from Atlanta. Listen, is he slithering away with the rest of the slimes? My bad. I mean, is he slithering away? We don't know. But he is from Atlanta. So if I had to log in a call sheet and make a prediction, it's Atlanta. We know how we get down in Atlanta. In the A, we know. However, I digress. Let me get back to Mr. Boyd. I think that's his name.
Industry professionals traveled to Dallas for a scheduled business meeting. Lontrell Williams Jr. arranged this meeting purportedly to discuss the terms of his recording contract with one of the victims. As alleged, once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover.
Okay. Now, I know I'm trying not to pause it, but we got to break down all the details so we get the indictment. Once we get the indictment, it'll be on screen. Remember, this is a complaint. We're assuming that there's a grand jury indictment, but regardless, there's a complaint by a federal agent, and the AUSA is presenting this. So we would think that it would hit an indictment already, which means we're scouring Pacer. We're going to see when it's released. Should be shortly because they did a press conference. Let me just say this. Chat. This is another thing when you deal with like these gangster rappers. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd be nervous going to any business meeting where 8 people got to be in a room. If you got to do a meeting with 8 individuals in and around the vicinity, you see, my business means is, oh, let's go get lunch. Let's get on Zoom. That's the best one. Let's do this over some coffee. Let's do this over some drinks. The moment I see you pull up with the niggas, a pack of niggas, we're not talking business. It's hard to talk business when you got 8 goons around. Also, this is probably going to go into the premeditation realm because to a reasonable mind, you don't go to discuss business with 8 individuals. Now, I do think Pooh Shiesty has some type of response for that. Say, no, we didn't plan to go do some stuff. I roll around with 8 people everywhere. And also, the place we met wasn't like some corporate office. When we go to the studio, we always 8 deep. That might work. Let's keep it going, chat.
Terms of his recording contract with one of the victims. As alleged, once these 3 men were inside the recording studio, Williams Jr. and 8 co-conspirators, several of whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover. As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to...
Oh, wow. Now, I know y'all saying just let it play, but I got to point out these things. In my mind, what happened is Pooh Shiesty know he's on papers. He's on halfway house type of situation. Halfway house is the last 6 months of your release. You get to kind of like be outside of whatever for like half the day, but you have to come back and sleep at the halfway house. It's like getting you reacclimated to society. The reason this meeting took place in Dallas is because he's in Dallas. Okay? So, essentially, he shows up to this thing. He knows he's in a halfway house. I would think that, in my little small brain, I thought the niggas just start doing shit, and that's why you got to have people you control, and he's going along with it because, bro, you're shiesty, you come from the streets. But according to prosecutors, they're saying Pooh Shiesty kicked it off. He upped the Draco. What up? Man, fuck all that talking, man. Sign that shit right now. Fuck all that. We ain't doing no negotiation. Fuck a deal point, nigga. You gonna catch this hollow point. What's up? Sign this shit, nigga. I'm out of here. I'm out of here, nigga. So they're saying that Shiesty kicked it off first. Yo, Shiesty and Dirk, I ain't gonna lie to you. That was probably like, Shiesty, Dirk, and King Von is like, it's like the big three. Like the real niggas of the industry. Like whatever they said they did that shit. Yo.
Whom traveled from Memphis, Tennessee, executed a coordinated armed takeover. As alleged, Williams Jr. produced an AK-style pistol and forced one of the victims to sign a release from the recording contract at gunpoint. The remaining conspirators displayed firearms and robbed the other victims of Rolex watches, jewelry, cash, and other high-value items.
Oh, shit.
One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness. Defendant Wright barricaded the studio door with his body to prevent the victims from escaping. The ringleader
Yo, Chad, I ain't gonna lie. Yo, if I'm Big 30, I'm so mad. Yo, if y'all gonna tell a story, what's my motto? If we gonna tell it, we gotta tell it all. How you gonna, Big 30's role in the criminal indictment for the robbery and kidnapping of Gucci Man is that this fat nigga is so big they just put him in the doorway as a block. They just put him there just to hold the door. Yo, this nigga is so fat. They didn't say, imagine y'all tool up. Everybody got y'all guns? Yo, y'all got y'all shiesties? I bet. We about to get this nigga Gucci Man aside. Yo, Big 30's like, what's my role in this shit? Your role? Nigga, just stand in the doorway. That's it. That's your job, okay? Stand in the doorway. That's your job. That's hilarious.
Cash and other high-value items. One of the victims was actually choked by one of the defendants to the point of near unconsciousness. Defendant Wright barricaded the studio door with his body to prevent the victims from escaping. The ringleader of the conspiracy, Lontrell Williams Jr., was on home confinement at the time of the offense.
Oh, he's done.
As alleged for a prior firearms conspiracy charge and conviction out of the Southern District of Florida. Towards the end of his prison sentence, he had been granted home detention. Part of the terms of his home detention were that he would not commit another federal offense or possess a firearm. His father, Lontrell Williams Sr., is alleged to have helped plan and execute the federal kidnapping as charged in the complaint. And as described further in the complaint, within hours of leaving the Dallas studio, a number of the defendants were on social media displaying some of the items that appeared to be the jewelry that had been robbed from the victims. The charging document outlines some of the evidence.
Yo, niggas could never stop nigging, huh? Soon as they get out of the studio, they went to social media to post the proof that they did do the robbery. Yo, here's the chain I took. Here it is right here. Niggas be thinking, they're like, they love calling bloggers police, but never acknowledge their role. Yo, a nigga will go online. Hey, you ever see a chick with a tattoo? She wear clothes all around it. She got a tattoo here. She got no clothes that cover this region because she wants you to see it. A nigga who do a robbery or killing, yo, he'll just go live like, I wonder who I'm smoking in this blunt. I heard niggas was down bad today. Man, next time you running from a nigga, don't trip. Like, they'll just basically tell you they did it. Like, niggas gotta confess. They got to. I wonder who chain this is. Yo, niggas chains on tour. Like, come on, bruv.
hours of leaving the Dallas studio, a number of the defendants were on social media displaying some of the items that appeared to be the jewelry that had been robbed from the victims. The charging document outlines some of the evidence, just some, establishing the defendants' roles in the federal offense. This is as follows. Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location.
Oh my God. They basically said the nigga had the ankle monitor on at the robbery. Yo. Yo, you might as well just FaceTime the feds, bro. Yo, hey, I'm robbing this bank right now. Not right now, I'm about to rob right now. What you mean? What you mean I won't do it? Nigga, I got my pole on. What you mean I won't? Yo, you FBI. Yo, this is crazy. Wearing the ankle monitor to the crime is wild. Like, you know what I mean? This is lit. Yo, I wonder which genius thought of this plan. Yo, you got a GPS, like, oh, you got your ankle monitor on? You don't think they're tracking you right now, right? All right, come on, let's go do this hit. Nah, this is some grade A niggatry. I love this shit.
The charging document outlines some of the evidence, just some, establishing the defendants' roles in the federal offense. This is as follows. Electronic monitoring data placing Williams Jr. at the offense location, which would put him in violation of his home detention conditions. Cell phone records and license plate reader data corroborating the coordinated travel of multiple defendants from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas. Rental car records confirming Williams Sr. rented a vehicle that was used by the group. Surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several of the defendants.
This is interesting. Now, chat, I'm going to tell you why I'm pausing. I'm going to tell you it's interesting. It looked like the feds was up on this immediately. What does that tell me? It tells me that one of the victims, I think they're claiming it's 3 victims, so it was Gucci and 2 other people. Somebody cooperated quick. Somebody cooperated quick, or Pooh Shiesty was rolling around with the nigga that's working. Meaning that guy is, he working with the feds and he's going to be flipping and he's telling me, yo, them niggas just did a robbery today. Because this is a little bit odd. They're up on this shit mad quick. Usually they got to go back and post, and by the time they get back, most security cameras rewrite itself after like 30 days. Like, they don't have enough space to store stuff in perpetuity. So they got the surveillance. Wow, they got everything. Jesus Christ.
A vehicle that was used by the group, surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several of the defendants stayed.
Myron, what up?
Yo, what up, bro? I see you on stream, man. This guy, Pooh Shiesty, hasn't learned his fucking lesson, huh?
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. The feds was up on this one. I ain't gonna lie. I think as soon as the feds heard the first 2 lines, fuck the feds, I think they said, all right, let's build another case. They did this pretty quick. They got surveillance footage. They got it down to a T.
Bro, dude, this is so fucking bad because he just got out of jail for like a similar crime. Dude, if he gets convicted this time, he's cooked.
Yeah, but here's what I'm saying. But I don't know if are you home or are you at your spot?
Yeah, no, I'm here. I just, you want to jump on a mic or something like that? Or
yeah, no. So I'm gonna watch this, but later on, because I do have some questions for you. Usually,
Sure.
like say things like this, I'm surprised they didn't sit on it. Like this happened 2 months ago, right? They're kind of hitting this really quickly. They could have probably said, all right, this guy's back to doing crime. Let's sit on it, right? Also, I think the element that hip hop is going to be concerned about is Gucci. Like they're wondering, for you to be a victim, are you cooperating, or could they, without your consent, just name you as a victim? And could they even pursue charges if none of the victims, supposedly it's 3, if none of the victims actually even,
Okay, so that's actually an excellent question. So if Gucci decides not to cooperate with the government,
hold on, wait. I don't want to hold people in suspense, but I got to. Hop on all your equipment and everything. We'll kind of do it like how we do our shit. and we could do a proper breakdown. It'll probably take a couple minutes. I'll just keep listening to this. I think the Attorney General.
Are you gonna be on late tonight too or not?
Yeah, well, I'm streaming pretty much throughout the whole time. But if you got a quick answer now, just tell me now. I'd rather
that. Yeah. So to answer your question, bro, the less cooperative victims are, the harder they're gonna have to rely on physical evidence. So from what I've seen, it looks like they got CCTV footage and all this other stuff where if you have a lot of concrete evidence like that, witness testimony isn't really that important. So they could just cook them off of that, bro, to be honest.
Yeah, they have a full, I don't know if there's surveillance footage in the studio, but they have a lot of they know sequentially what happened. Yo, he was signing this paper while this guy pulled out his pistol, one guy blocking the door. It either has to be some surveillance or one of the victims has now talked. But let me throw this other thing in there. Do you think that maybe there's somebody with Pooh that probably, maybe he has some other shit going on. He's kind of just flipped and kind of giving the whole thing up.
That could be it. Like he got busted on something else. Because here's the thing. I'm looking for the criminal complaint right now, and I can't find it anywhere, bro.
Yeah, it's not unsealed yet.
Well, okay, so yeah, because they just arrested him, right? So they have probably, you know why? He hasn't been brought in front of a judge yet.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So they're gonna unseal it when he does his initial appearance, which is already like 2 p.m. They might not bring him in today. Every courthouse is different with their initial appearance, but by tomorrow at the latest, we're gonna have that criminal complaint more than likely, or they might have indicted him. But was listening to AUSA. He said the complaint, if I'm not mistaken. So that means some agent probably drafted it up. Gave it to the judge versus doing a formal indictment.
Yeah, interesting. Also, here's the thing too, and I'm not too sure how much you know about, at least within once you get to the Bureau of Prisons, at least for the federal government, like how do they deal with these things? If you're on what they call halfway house, which is kind of like, it's pretty much like it's a version of home confinement where you're reporting to a building, but you're allowed to go free to do work, and I'm pretty sure the work was I have to go do I gotta go do music, right? So he goes to the studio, which is one of the allowed places. If you then do a crime, then is there any revocation that they have to just say, oh, you're back in federal prison rather than a halfway house?
Oh yeah, bro. Like if you're on probation or parole, or like any of that, and you violate, like you're cooked. Like it could be as simple as they catch you with weed, dude. Like you're going right back to jail. They don't play around with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out if it's like premeditation, but like this seems so stupid. Nobody could sat down and thought about this for 10 minutes.
Well, let me give you a little bit of insight, bro.
Dude, that is ankle monitor on.
Yo, these probation officers, bro. A lot of people don't know this. I'm gonna give your audience a little bit of game here. These probation officers damn near have more power than federal agents sometimes, and I'll explain why. If one of the people are on probation or getting one of these benefits where they're able to get out early, whatever, and they violate, not only can that probation officer go arrest them, he could search his house. He doesn't really need probable cause. Basically, you become the government's bitch, right? So what I used to do when I was an agent is if I was looking at a target and he was on probation, I'd go with the probation officer, pretend to be a probation officer, and then I'm able to pick up a bunch of intel from being in there because I'm there with that officer and he doesn't know what I do. So that's the power, just to kind of explain to you like how powerful these guys are when you violate. They become like damn near God mode, bro. They don't need anything to come pick you up.
Yeah, no, this was incredibly. I was thinking that maybe the guys around him like kicked off something and he just went along. The U.S. attorney saying no, he initiated this thing, and it's pretty bad. Jesus Christ, the across state lines thing. I'm wondering if they really probably had like an axe to grind against him. It seems like they do, because the only thing they're mentioning about interstate is that hey, they travel from Memphis. That seems to be the thing. Yo, they travel from Memphis.
To be honest with you, bro, establishing interstate nexus is very easy. Like, let's say they used a gun in a commission of a crime. Boom, it's done. Because what the government's going to articulate is he used a weapon that had different parts manufactured in different parts of the country, which affects interstate commerce, and that's how they get venue. That's how they do it. Yeah. Because I used to do one of the things I used to specialize in when I was on the border was gun cases.
Yeah.
So that's why one of my good friends, the ATF agent. So I used to work with him hand in hand. So I know exactly how the ATF deals with all these, gun charges. But to get interstate nexus, bro, it's real simple. Let's say you're a felon, right? And you get pulled over and you get arrested. And the state says, you know what? We don't want to take this. They call ATF. ATF comes and gets you, right? Now they write a criminal complaint. They indict you, whatever. They bring you into custody. One of the things that the ATF has to do to formalize before an indictment is they have to establish what's called an interstate nexus. And all that is a specially trained ATF agent, every field office has one, who is like the interstate nexus guy. He breaks apart the gun. He goes through all the different parts of the gun. And then he's able to conclusively say, hey, I examined this firearm. This firearm has springs from Massachusetts, but a trigger guard from California. And that's kind of their interstate nexus report. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I knew there was something up with this because Gucci was noticeably quiet. And unfortunately, hip-hop is so ignorant that Gucci, who has survived a case where he was charged after a self-defense shooting, he's been to jail numerous amount of times. He came out this last time where he seemingly changed his life. He's been living and kind of moving on a straight path. They're going to put him in the same, he kind of falls into this Atlanta being Atlanta thing again, because this idea of ratting. I think people are going to assume he cooperated. And unfortunately, I think for the culture and fans, let's say this happened, they're expecting Gucci to just keep it straight.
Yeah, which he actually can do, bro. Because, he can if he doesn't testify and, he's like, look, I'm not going to talk on that, whatever, he could probably still salvage, his image because, because I've done this before. When I did gang cases, one of the things that would almost always happen is, people would just not cooperate. Right, but we had so much physical evidence that we didn't really need that person's testimony, if that makes sense. So as long as you got good physical evidence, you got it. It's good. The witness is just kind of the cherry on top when you don't have strong evidence, physical evidence.
Hey, and by the way, chat, I'm looking up here on the Bureau of Prison website for the government. It looks like
your chat is retarded, bro. Do these guys know what I used to do for a living?
Yeah, some of them might not know. So it looks like they're saying, so before Pooh Shiesty's location in the Federal Bureau of Prisons would say this halfway house in Dallas. It says he's no longer there, which means I could imagine he just transferred to another. They probably just came to pick him up.
At the halfway house?
Yeah. So he was there until yesterday, and it says he's not in. I think that's a. They denominate not in custody, but he is in custody, just not at a facility that's known at this point. So it might be going to the MDC or whatever it is.
Yeah, and remember, like I said before, if you're out on probation or some shit like that, you basically have no rights. You gotta ask for permission ahead of time. Your life is super restricted. You can't hang out with gangbangers, and if you do anything like that, you could get caught with a fucking roach, dude, and you'll go to jail, right back to federal prison.
Yeah, I would love to see how this comes down. They keep saying conspiracy, so they're going with it's a conspiracy to do this, but it might just be conspiracy to commit robbery, right?
That's probably what happened.
But I would love to see if they have a bigger case here, but it seems like it might just be this. Regardless, I wonder what the statutes of what this carries.
Weapons offenses like that.
Well, robbing somebody at gunpoint. I mean, I would imagine
yeah. No, that someone was saying I think 5 to 15 years for statute of limitations if memory serves correct.
No, not statute of limitations, sentencing actually.
Sentencing.
Yeah,
so with the sentencing, that's going to be a little bit more tricky because when a judge sentences you, he takes into account your criminal history and other stuff. And for Pooh Shiesty, him getting arrested while on probation and just getting out of jail. And keep in mind, when he got arrested the first time, he got arrested for the same dumb shit. Robbing dudes at gunpoint. So if he gets convicted, bro, the judge's probably going to throw the hammer at him.
Yo, it kind of makes me think, Pooh Shiesty was really living his raps. Imagine the amount of people he robbed that he didn't get caught for.
He really was, bro. It's actually fucking nuts, man. And I've always said, if King Von was alive today, they would have picked him up on a RICO a long ass time ago.
Yeah, crazy. All right, let me watch this thing real quick, and then I'm gonna tap back in with you in a second. I'm pretty much gonna be on all day, so by the time you get on, we could do our thing.
Perfect. Yeah, I think I'm gonna go on at 10, but I and want to give you guys a little bit of sauce and stuff like that. But yeah, we'll definitely cook tonight if you want.
No, of course.
All right, bro. I'll talk to you. Peace.
All right. Chat, do y'all not know Myron is he's a former federal agent? He worked for HSI. His job was to cook up cases on people. Like, yeah. Yo, Myron is, you know who Myron is? Myron is Denzel from Training Day. They probably built prisons because of Myron. I'm not bragging here, but I'm not trying to make it a joke, but he's given a lot of niggas a lot of charges that probably served a lot of time. He was more focused on the border stuff with the cartels. Anyway, let's go back to Mr. Boyd here and the info he's going to disseminate to us.
Corroborating the coordinated travel of multiple defendants from Memphis, Tennessee to Dallas, rental car records confirming Williams Sr. rented a vehicle that was used by the group, surveillance footage from the offense location, a nearby office supply store, and a hotel where several of the defendants stayed following the offense. Fingerprint evidence as well that was recovered from the crime scene.
See, that's why I'm thinking someone must have reported the same day. To capture fingerprints, it has to be damn near almost immediate. That's why I think, and damn, fingerprint? Holy shit, that's like some old school shit, fingerprint.
At least two of the defendants, social media posts by defendants displaying what appears to be stolen property just in the days following the offense, Greyhound bus records confirming the travel of multiple defendants from Dallas to Memphis.
Chat, you could tell they were aware that the crime happened. No one wanted to fly. They tried to take a bus. Do you have to, can't you just like pay for a bus without no type of identification? Hopefully they didn't charge you on their card, right?
The day after the offense, in this case, came to Dallas to conduct legitimate business, and they were met with firearms and violence as alleged in the charging document. This case should serve as a warning to others who believe that using violence and intimidation tactics to rob others in our community is a viable way to conduct business. I'm here to say that it is not, and that if you choose to do this, we will, together with our law enforcement partners here and the other ones in the Northern District of Texas, will bring you swiftly to justice. I want to thank the FBI Dallas Violent Crimes Task Force, the FBI's Memphis Resident Agency and Nashville Field Office, the Memphis Safe Task Force, the Dallas Police Department, the United States Attorney for the Western District of Tennessee, Michael Dunovit, and AUSA Greg Wagner, the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Eastern District of Texas, my dear friend and colleague Jay Combs, and the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Middle District of Tennessee, including my colleague Braden Busek, for their outstanding contributions in this multi-jurisdictional investigation and prosecution. I'd also like to highlight the extraordinary work. None of this happens without the extraordinary work of our AUSAs in this office, and I'm here to say we have the best AUSAs in the...
By the way, thank you, Smoke Peasure. I think you mean pressure. Thank you for the attendance. Says, yo, he initiated too, bro. A menace society. The white man gonna have to poke him. He has stand, stupid ass nigga. Okay.
Entire country.
Let's talk about Pooh.
That includes AUSA's Robert Withers, Claire Demers, and my violent crime chief, Jeremy Fugate. This case really underscores the importance of standing up for crime victims, no matter who they are or where they come from, and the incredible collaborative investigative partnerships that we have, not only in the Northern District of Texas, but across the country, and we are all working together to make our country safer. So thank you for being here today, and I'll answer some questions after my colleague here speaks. But now I'm going to turn it over to him, and this is Jeremy Wright, who's the Dallas FBI Assistant Special Agent in charge.
Yeah, thank you, Ryan. Good morning, everybody. As Ryan said, my name is Jeremy Wright. I'm Assistant Special Agent in charge for FBI Dallas. As United States Attorney Raybold said, we're here today to announce the arrest of several individuals in the Memphis and Nashville, Tennessee areas, as long as one here in Frisco, Texas. These arrests are the result of a violent kidnapping of 3 individuals here in the Dallas area. The majority of those arrested did travel from Memphis to Dallas to commit that offense. Our office collaborated with multiple law enforcement agencies in other FBI offices to carry out this investigation that ultimately led to these arrests. So I'd like to thank the Dallas Violent Crimes Task Force, Dallas Police Department, the Memphis Safe Task Force, Memphis, Tennessee Police Department, and the Shelby County, Tennessee Sheriff's Department for helping with this investigation. Violent crime does remain a top priority for the FBI, and we dedicated significant resources from here in Dallas FBI, Nashville, Little Rock, Birmingham, and Atlanta FBI offices to investigate and successfully arrest these individuals. We remain committed to investigating violent crimes like these. No matter who you are, we will fight every day alongside our partners to make our communities safer. So, thank you.
And we have time for some questions. If you would just identify who you were with and your name would be helpful. Yes, sir.
Kevin Reese with WFAA.
Hi, Kevin.
It may be in the release that you're going to send us, but can you be more specific to who these victims are and a specific location of this studio that you were talking about?
I'll answer the last part first. Yes, it'll be in the complaint, and we're happy to get you a copy of that. It's now unsealed. It was off Dallas Parkway in Dallas, Texas, a music studio. That's what's identified in the complaint. As far as victims go, we won't get into, at this time, who the victims are or not.
Chase with the Dallas Morning News. Can you describe the injuries suffered by the 3 victims?
So one of the victims, and this is actually in the complaint, and we'll get you a copy as well, there's a photograph of the injury. It looks like there's some abrasions on the neck and arm.
You were still seeking one suspect, you'd say?
One of the individuals that's been charged has not had his initial appearance yet, but agents are actively working to locate and bring him to court.
And I wanted to touch on that actually. Eric Bushman with KRLD. Since there's one person you're still trying to get to come in, I guess it's not an arrest, it's its initial appearance, you had said that you're trying to work out. Because you're going public with this, are you afraid at all that that's going to hinder and eventually getting an individual in?
Agents are working to find him. The complaint has already been unsealed, and a number of these defendants have had their public hearing already, their initial appearance, and so it's already out there that this individual has been charged, and so that information is in the public record. But I trust that the agents will be able to identify this person and find them and bring them to justice. Of course, that person can turn themselves in immediately.
2 questions. This is Chase with the Dallas Morning News again. So the initial incident happens in January 10th.
Mm-hmm.
We're here in April.
Mm-hmm.
Can you describe the timeline and the length of time, why we're talking about this now? Because it sounds like these arrests happened recently. And then the second part of that question, did all of the arrests happen yesterday, or were they happening over the span of time that we're talking about?
Yeah, good questions. I'll start with the last part. 8 of the 9 happened yesterday, and then we're still working on one more. And that was, again, a lot of those happened in Memphis. One happened in Nashville, and we're working now with our Georgia counterparts to get the last person brought to justice. Do you want to ask another question, follow up to that?
Actually, I forgot you had 2. Come back to me after you.
Okay, and remind me of your first part, sir.
We had the initial incident on January 10th,
Yep.
here April 2nd. Can you describe and kind of characterize why, that amount of time passed before there were arrests?
Well, that was one of the reasons I wanted to list off some of the evidence that has been uncovered to date. A lot of this was subpoena work, search warrant work, and things like that in order to develop the investigation. And so the agents here with me, the agents out in the field, it takes a little bit of time to identify who did this offense and build a case so that we feel comfortable bringing the charges. So actually that's pretty quickly for a federal case of this gravity and this nature. And so I'm very proud of the investigative work, and it will continue from this office as well as our FBI and our local police department.
If convicted of these charges, these arrests, how serious are these crimes? What do these people face?
They're facing a range, so there's no mandatory minimum in this case. It's a range of punishment, and it'll be in the province of the judge, whoever gets the case. But it could be from 0 all the way to life imprisonment. And as you know, a lot of what will guide what's called the sentencing guidelines will be the individual's previous criminal history, the fact that one of these individuals committed the offense while on home confinement, so actually serving a federal offense. Assuming that individual is convicted, that will be an aggravating factor for sure.
Real quick, I was curious. I know you're being quiet outside of them being locals in Dallas, were they aspiring artists? Are they known locally or even nationally? Can you at least tell us that?
I'm not going to get into the victim stuff at this time. I think that more will be coming out there that will help clarify, but I'm not at liberty at this stage of the investigation to disclose that.
And then, can you describe the operation to conduct all of those arrests? I imagine they were in different places. Maybe they all happened around the same time. I'm not sure.
I'm going to hand that one off to my colleague here, Jeremy Wright.
Yeah, thank you for the question. It requires a lot of partnerships across multiple jurisdictions to be able to conduct simultaneous arrests in a manner, to not alert other folks and to do it safely. So really, it's just a coordinated effort. Unfortunately, we have great relationships here locally with Dallas PD and our other partners, as well as other FBI offices have the similar relationships. Memphis is unique. They have the Memphis Safe Task Force there currently, which was kind of a help in a lot of this. So it's really just coordination and pre-planning.
And a follow-up to that. So were all of the arrests in Memphis or?
No, we Memphis. We had one in Frisco, Texas, yesterday morning. The rest were in Memphis. And as the U.S. Attorney said, we're actively pursuing the final arrest.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Did you have another question, sir?
Okay, you get Jody. Mugshots, is that going to be out somewhere where we can get that?
I think that becomes public record, but I'm not sure. If I could follow up with you right after, Catherine, if you would get to make sure that we get that information over there. Thank you for coming. If there are any further questions, I just want to underscore the importance here in Northern District of Texas of vigorously prosecuting violent crime. And a couple days ago, I did a press conference in Fort Worth, Texas, but it just highlights the collaboration. The state, local police are some of our best friends and best partners. Chief Como is a dear friend and partner of this office and has been fantastic for us, working with some of the best in the business, the FBI. And I'm just really honored to stand shoulder to shoulder with the men and women in my office. So again, we look forward to prosecuting this case vigorously. And if you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to Catherine Miller. Thank you.
Okay. Chat, we are trying to get the relevant information. What the hell? What the fuck? Give me 1 second, chat. Don't worry, we are working to get the relevant information here, which is a criminal complaint. We should get it shortly. We do have a case number. Currently, this is the motion that was signed off by the judge. We get to find out the case was actually filed on March 30th, 2026. And this is a motion to unseal. We have all the co-defendant. So this is obviously Pooh Shiesty, Lontra William Jr. This is his father. Rodney Wright is his big 30. We have DeMarcus Glover, Darian McDaniels, Terrence Rogers, Corday Johnson, Kadarius Walters, and Demarion Gibson. So it says the United States respectfully moves this court to unseal the criminal complaint in the above captioned case. In support thereof, as stated as follows. The criminal complaint was filed on that date, as I said, under a seal charging 9 defendants with violation of 18 U.S.C. 1201 and C, that is kidnapping and conspiracy to commit kidnapping. So at least we know what the charges are. So it's kidnapping and conspiracy to commit kidnapping. I'm wondering why there wasn't mention of the robbery. But it might be conspiracy that includes robbery. You never know. The complaint was sealed to protect the integrity of the ongoing investigation and prevent flight by the defendants prior to their apprehension. The grounds for the sealing no longer existing is the continued sealing of the complaint is no longer necessary or justified. 8 of the 9 defendants charged are now in custody. 1 currently in the Northern District of Texas. 7 currently in Tennessee. So pretty much Pooh's in Texas because he was already there because he was in Dallas. They arrested 7 people in Tennessee. And the 9th defendant, Terrence Rogers, the government has made diligent efforts to locate and apprehend him, and it is his assessment that he's likely aware of the existence of the charges and law enforcement's interest in his apprehension. Continued sealing of this complaint thus serves no meaningful law enforcement purpose. As primary objectives underline the original sealing order preventing flight and preserving the element of surprise, necessary to effect safe arrest have been substantially accomplished and are no longer achievable. These are strong presumptions of the acts of the. Okay, great. Okay, here we go. So it says, unsealing this complaint will not materially prejudice the government's ability to apprehend the ninth defendant. To the contrary, the public disclosure may facilitate the apprehension by enabling members of the public to provide information regarding the defendant's whereabouts. And moreover, the complaint only contains allegations necessary to establish probable cause and does not disclose sensitive investigative techniques which compromise ongoing. So they're still looking into shit. Oh, wow. We need, I want to get Hernandez Govan on here. He's been, been one of the guys who wanted to appear in our stream and talk about a few things. I'm going to see if I can get him on the phone. Wow. Now, if you guys don't know, there was an ongoing raid yesterday that happened at Pooh Shiesty's father's home. It was very inconspicuous, but check this out. Now, apparently, they do this search warrant, and it looks like they're anticipating possible weapons and maybe even violence because they throw a flashbang into the house. They did also execute a search, the arrest warrant as well. By the way, this is a Maybach truck. Not too sure if this is the one that's pictured in First Day Out. I think he just got his pops a Maybach truck. But Pooh Shiesty FDO. If you watch that video, you'll notice in this video he shows off a Maybach truck right here. Not too sure if it's the same one. But essentially, let's see if we can get to right here. The Maybach truck is here. I'm not too sure if that's the one picture, but it could be. Could be. All right. But yeah, you see the Maybach logo? It was a whole scenario. There's a couple more videos. Let me see if I can find. I'm working on getting what's the name on here. Don't worry.
And we're learning more.
Okay, by the way, I don't know why this popped up or someone sent this to me. They're saying that allegedly Pooh Shiesty already told and told on himself. And he's really close friends with Ben the Don. They're saying Pooh Shiesty told Ben that they robbed Gucci Man. This is like, they're claiming it was before. And he showed him the proof like on FaceTime or something while Ben was on stream. Let's see.
Don't say that.
Wait, why they overlay the music?
3 million cash, can't fit in my hand, then sit some on my head. They come put that pussy on me, bitch. I'm fresh from out the fed.
Hold on. I'm trying not to get copywritten.
Put that pussy.
Are you serious?
Now this might be cap.
The whole world been waiting on it. Took that knife
I
all the way
hope
to
you lying,
home.
nigga.
Gave it to my little homie, nigga. Ain't no more Mufasa, Mr.
Okay. You can't even hear nothing. This is probably fake. It's probably fake. Anyway.
More about an FBI search party at a Cordova home associated with Memphis rapper Pooh Shiesty. Now, the